Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the United Stand. This is your Manchester United versus Barcelona preview. This is the one. This is a line in the sand. This is putting yourself on the map. What a massive game this is. We've also got some updates coming in relation to the Glazers, unfortunately. We will get into that in a few minutes' time, but I want to talk about Barcelona first because ultimately takeovers, transfer news and all that crap never supersedes Barcelona at Old Trafford in a game of this magnitude. But we will talk about it. Gary Neville's been tweeting about it. There's a story this morning that the Glazers will make money available for the summer, even if they're still in charge. I just think we're getting too many even ifs at the moment. The price of season tickets going up, the director of operations being appointed, the talk of the Glazers might be staying, and now we're getting stuff like contracts and transfers in the summer will still go ahead even if they stay. Would you just get out? Jog on. Literally jog on. Nobody likes you. Just go. It's like turning up to a party that no one invited you to. Just jog on. Nobody wants you to stay. Absolutely nobody. Just go. There is no news that will be received good. Just go. You're going to make a shitload of money. That's all you want to do. Get out of our club and go. Go, please go. Anyway, let's get into the show. We're going to talk about Barcelona first, but we will come back into that. What a massive game this is. I don't know whether you saw Barcelona at the weekend. They beat Cadiz 2-0. They are comfortably top of the league. They've still only conceded 7 goals in the league this season. United went to the Nou Camp and we could have scored 3 or 4. I put us as firm favourites. The opportunity to kick Barcelona out of Europe and send De Jong back to Barcelona when he should have been at Manchester, out of Europe. What an incentive this is for Manchester United. Respect to Barcelona, they're a massive club, but there is a rivalry here. We want to beat you, you want to beat us. Let's go for it. And I think that it is such a big line in the sand. The Europa League is a wish version of the Champions League. Thank you very much for your chat there, Stephen Statham. The Europa League is a wish version of the Champions League, a BTEC version, a Poundland version, whatever you want to call it. But ultimately, it's Manchester United against Barcelona in a competitive game and everyone's going to bloody watch it. I wasn't old enough to remember 84. This was a classic European tie at Old Trafford between Manchester United and Barcelona. Maradona was lining up for Barcelona. Absolute classic. We could get another one on Thursday. I was old enough to see Scholes' at Old Trafford in 08, and I think that, that was the Champions League. This is the Europa League, but it's a big line in the sand for Manchester United. When Man United played Barcelona in a competitive game, the world watches. And when Man United knocked Barcelona out, or Barcelona knocked Man United out, the world watches. It's a big, big statement. And we did so well in the Nou Camp. We've got to bring it home at Old Trafford. The crowd, if you're lucky enough to go have a ticket on Thursday night, you will remember this for the rest of your lives. This will be an absolute cauldron. And I think this is why we'll bring it home. We have got injury problems. I think the crowd are going to win it. I really, really do. I think, it's not been that often in the last decade that we've seen Manchester United European nights under the lights. I remember watching these on the TV as a kid. I remember watching them in the early 90s when the Champions League had just started. And then for the rest of the Sir Alex era, there's no better time. I mean, look, Anfield on a Sunday afternoon's fine. Old Trafford against Liverpool or Man City is fine. It's brilliant. It's great. But there's something about under the lights at Old Trafford on a European night that cannot be beaten. And on Thursday nights, you're going to hear that crowd roar. A teacher in the US usually working right now, but my school is on vacation, so happy to watch you live, says John. Welcome to the show, John. Hi, Mark. Hope you're well. Finally, after a year, De Jong comes to Manchester United. I've still got the top, Will. I might wear it on Thursday for the banter. But yeah, you've got to get in for this. You've got to get up for this. You've got to get ready for this. And I don't like where my red light is. Over there. You've got to get up for this. They're few and far between. And we've got a Carabao Cup final on Sunday, but I'm not here to talk about that. Sabitzer can play. He's not suspended. So, look, if that doesn't make you feel confident, what can? Varane's back. Casemiro is back. It just makes us stronger. Excited to see De Jong at Old Trafford. But let's talk about Barcelona first. They'll have no Ousmane Dembele, they'll have no Pedri, and they'll have no Xavi. That's 3 of their most exciting players not available. Busquets comes back. Busquets, not bothered. I'm really not bothered. Busquets is a great player. I mean, he played in the cup final against us in 11 and 09. I mean, that's how long ago how long he's been playing. But Busquets isn't creative. He doesn't make them more creative. I think at the end of the day, they've lost the creative edge, Barcelona. But I look at that United side and I look at it and I go, De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Martinez, Luke Shaw. That defence is good. They've not really got somebody who can get on the end of crosses on the far post against Wan-Bissaka. So the weakness in that back five shouldn't get exploited. Casemiro, for me, the best CDM in the world at the moment. I put Sabitzer instead of Fred because I like Fred, but ultimately, is Fred a starter for Man United or is he a bench player for Man United? And I still think he's a bench player. We haven't seen Sabitzer and Casemiro play. Do you need Fred with Casemiro when you're trying to win a game at Old Trafford? We're trying to win a game at Old Trafford. If Eriksen was fit, Eriksen would play. Sabitzer is closer to Eriksen than Fred. Sabitzer's got to start next to Casemiro for me. We need to see that midfield two unleashed because that's the midfield two that could keep us in a title race, that could win as a Europa League, that could win as an FA Cup. I think Fred's a very honest player. He's a very inconsistent player. He's a very useful player. But we want to win. Casemiro will just say to Sabitzer, go and express yourself, which he's not been able to do yet. So for me, Sabitzer's got to play. But it'll be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if Ten Hag did start Fred. Bruno getting back in the middle because Weghorst as a number 10 doesn't work. It didn't work against Leicester in the first half. It was really bad. That could cost us the game against someone like Barcelona. So Weghorst does start, but he starts down the middle in his best position. Bruno at 10. Rashford on the left, which is his best position. And then that leaves the right wing open. And for me, Sancho. I mean, we've got nobody else. You could go Garnacho. You could go Pellistri. You could go Elanga. You could put Bruno out there. But if you put Bruno out there, who's going to play at number 10? Unless you play Fred, Sabitzer and Casemiro as a midfield three and you put Bruno on the right. I don't think Sancho's ready to start a game of this magnitude at number 10. I think he's good with half an hour to go when there's space, but I don't think he's ready to start as number 10. So I would go Bruno off in the number 10 and Sancho off the right and see how that goes. But look, there are injury concerns. Ross says there, I've got a ticket and in the Stretford end, can't wait. Going to be a great night, Ross. Enjoy it. You could put McTominay in as well. Some people are saying put Sancho as a 10. I think you're ridiculously naive. I don't think Sancho is ready to play number 10 in a game of this magnitude from minute one. I don't think we've seen any evidence of that. And I'd be very surprised if Ten Hag did it. If he does, great. But I don't think he's ready for it. If you get it wrong, you're going home. So I don't think he'll do it. But what do I know? Afternoon, Mark. Hope you're feeling better from yesterday. Always in my thoughts. Thank you very much, Mikael Roach. You're a legend. Of course, though, there is a slight negative to this, and the reason it's not a negative is because Ten Hag has done so well. But let's be honest here: Anthony and Anthony Martial not expected to be available to play for this game. Maguire is apparently out. That doesn't massively matter. I mean, look. It sounds weird to say it when the club captain, who cost 80 million, isn't available for our biggest game of the season, and we're sort of like, but it doesn't really matter, does it? Harry Maguire was never going to start this game. He'll only come on he would only come on if there was a problem at centre back, and you've still got Lindelof and you've still got Luke Shaw who can play centre back. So honestly, centre back is an area that we're well stacked. Where we're not stacked is on the right wing. Martial, I think we've sort of given up on. If he gets back, it's a bonus, but we're not expecting it, really, between now and the summer. That's a problem that needs to be resolved. Anthony's becoming a bit of a problem for me. I think somebody was saying today that he's already missed over 10 games for Manchester United in his debut season. And I think Man United have played 38 games, of which he wasn't available for the first 3 anyway, I don't think, maybe the first 4. So he's getting on for missing around 15 games already when we've played 38. So it's not going to be too long before he's approaching missing 50% of our games this season. And in your debut season at United, that's a bit of a concern because he's our biggest signing. He's our only left-footed attacker. He fills that right-hand side void really, really well. Is he becoming a bit of a problem around injury now? Because we need him. We desperately need him. And I don't understand what's going on with Anthony. I don't know whether it's a legacy problem from the bad injury he had at the end of last season for Ajax and whether that's causing him problems. I actually thought the knock he had before the World Cup wasn't as bad as was made out, and he was just keeping himself back for the World Cup because the day after the Fulham game, he trained with Brazil, and I thought, bit cheeky, but maybe he's just kept himself back. He's a young lad who wants to play for Brazil. I don't think that was correct. I think he's got some sort of problem because he keeps picking up these issues and we never get any clarity. I mean, already he must have been out for what, 2 weeks again already? And it's like, what is the issue? Is it ankle related? The same problem that he had in the summer. This is not great. It's not the end of the world, but it's not great. This is a debut season at Manchester United. I think he's had unfair criticism from the media anyway because he's not got a British passport. But if he's not on the pitch, he can't develop. And if he can't develop, he can't be a success. We need Anthony back ASAP. And I think the only reason it's not getting spoken about much is because Ten Hag is just doing such a magical job with the limited resources he's got. But we do need Anthony back. I don't think he's back for this game. Decoy says, about the Sajim versus Qatar debate, I would rather think who fits in better with Ten Hag's project than who I want to own the club. It's his choice, says Decoy. Mikael Roach has gifted a membership. Thank you very much. Sancho and Garnacho for Super Sub. We got this, guys. That's what I'd be looking at, Maximus. We've got a gap on the wing. And I think Rashford off the left, Weghorst through the middle, and Bruno at 10 is how I would go. You could put Bruno on the right, put Sancho at 10 or put Sabitzer at 10 and rejig the midfield. But ultimately, I'd give Sancho 45 minutes, an hour, and then bring Garnacho on as well. I think we want some flair in that team. And we need to get hold of the midfield. I think Bruno's so experienced at number 10. The reason I wouldn't play Sancho or Weghorst at 10 is because Busquets is back. De Jong is playing. And Bruno has experience of playing against deep-lying midfielders who conduct the game. He'll harass them. He'll get at them. He'll keep them on their toes. Sancho's not got a lot of experience of that, and I don't think Weghorst is quick enough to do that. But look, I'm not the manager. Ten Hag's the manager. That could be the team. I'd be very happy with that being the team. I'll guarantee you it won't be the team. Oil me up, says Manka. I'm going to talk. Tell you what, I forgot to say at the moment. Welcome to the Members Club, Bilal. Forgot to say this at the start of the show. Very interesting vote from the Norwegian Manchester United Supporters Trust, or I think that's what they're called, or group. Very interesting poll result on who they want the owner to be. We'll talk about that in a minute because that's a proper vote and it's very, very interesting. And I do want to talk about that. But where's this game going to be won and lost? Midfield. Where's this game going to be won and lost? How clinical we are. Where's this game going to be won and lost? At Old Trafford by Manchester United. I cannot see us not doing this. I think when I saw this Barcelona draw a couple of months ago, when we went to the new camp last week, I was like, they're top of their league. They're doing really well. They've got some really good players. Xavi's doing a great job. This is going to be a real test for us. And we passed it with flying colours. We were robbed by the referee last week. I mean, we've moved on because that's what we do. But we were robbed by the referee last week. It's a stonewall red card on that foul on Rashford. He's the last man. That's a foul. That's a red card. We've moved on from that because we were right to highlight it, but you have to move on. Get them back to Old Trafford and then we'll play our game. And that's what we need to do on Thursday night. I'm going to go Man United 2-0. I think that defence is good enough to keep a clean sheet, and I think we're capable of scoring 1 or 2 goals. I can just see a situation where the Stretford end are sucking that ball into the back of the net like they have done over the years. I can see a situation where the entirety of Old Trafford is just a cauldron of noise. Barcelona fans will be there and they'll be bringing their own atmosphere, but United, under the lights, in the European scene, I nearly said cup, not quite yet, I just think it's going to be unbelievable. Probably the best atmosphere we've had in years. And I think the players will play off that. And I think people like David De Gea, Rafael Varane, Casemiro, these players are going to be huge on Thursday night because they've been there, done that, got the experience, know what it's all about. And I think they've got the measure of Barcelona. I think people like Casemiro have got the measure of Barcelona. He's played against them more times than any of those Barcelonas, bar Busquets, has played in big games. So I think he's got it. Mark, for the game on Thursday, we need to get the best out of all our squad. Would you play Bruno centre or on the right? Which is best for him, says Jay. Well, as I said, I'd put him in the centre. I think you've got to occupy Busquets and De Jong. Garnacho reminds me of Grealish for England, a great super sub who's very dangerous in the last 25, says Marl. Welcome to Members Club, Emils. And how excited are you to see what a midfield with Casemiro and Sabitzer can do? Stephen, I really hope that does start on Thursday. I think we'll beat them. The thing about Sabitzer is we haven't even seen what Sabitzer's all about yet. We just haven't seen what he's all about yet because he's been doing a job with Casemiro being suspended. Casemiro back in the team, he runs that midfield on his own. You know, he's the CDM. I don't need any help. I'll do it on my own. And that frees up the likes of Eriksen and Sabitzer to just do what they want to do, which is be more involved in, you know, making things happen. But Sabitzer's a very, you know, physical player as well. So I said this when we got hold of Sabitzer. Due respect to Eriksen, but if Sabitzer works, he's actually got more to his game than Eriksen defensively. And he can do the offensive work as well. So it could work really well. But you know what? He might not. He might not pick him. He might play Fred. Misbah says, Pedri is a huge miss for Barcelona. I'm not going to underestimate what Barcelona might be able to do to us in this game. They can certainly win it. And we'd be foolish to say this is a nailed-on win. We're going to have to play very, very well. We're going to have to concentrate. And if there's any slippage, they will beat us. But look, this is our big game. This is our very big game, and there's no point in going in half-cocked onto this. We've got to go into it hard, and I think that if we don't, then we could be doing ourselves out of a problem. Whatever happens on Thursday, we're going to have to put a lot in. So we better bloody win, because if we put a lot in and go out, and then we lose the Carabao Cup because we're tired, it's a double negative. Knock Barcelona out, you're going to be tired, but the energy of knocking Barcelona out will make you fly to Wembley. So it's a double positive. We don't want a double negative. Eric says we Norwegians love oil as well. Trust me. So that's your preview for the Barcelona game, and I think we've got to get out. The one thing about this is that we're not going to snooze at the start. The crowd will be absolutely electric, and United will be charged from that crowd. And Barcelona, I've seen Spanish teams come to England before in European ties and get absolutely dominated. It doesn't always happen. I've seen it with Real Madrid at Anfield. I've seen it with Barcelona. I think it's a different type of intensity, and it's a different type of intensity from the crowd. And I think that, you know, it's going to be such an advantage for Manchester United. And I fancy us to win. I fancy us to win 2-0. And the weird thing is, well, I don't want to talk about it, but the weird thing is, if we win this, we'll all start thinking we're going to win the Europa League. There's so many games still to play in the Europa League. I think there's 2 games, then there's the quarterfinal 2 games, the semi-final 2 games, and then the final. I think there's still 7 games after this. So look, there's a long way to go. But whether we win the Europa League or not, I think it's more important to beat Barcelona, because it just gives you that. Everyone's watching. Everyone's watching. If we beat Barcelona, it's not like winning a trophy, but it opens a lot of eyes. His bits are good enough to be the outstanding number 8 next season if funds are available, says HK. If he wants to come to Manchester United, we'll get him, because Barcelona want to sell him. But it's whether he wants to come. The Real C, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much. Juventus are in the Europa apparently. There's still some good teams in it, but that you know, I will think it. A lot of people will think whoever wins this game is going to win the tournament. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised. If Barcelona beat us, I think they'll go and win it. So we've got to look at that the same. What are people talking about Bayern? What have I said about Bayern? I don't know what I've said about Bayern. I think I've mixed my words up on something. Arsenal are still in it as well. All I can see is Bayern. We're playing Barcelona. Bayern. What are you talking about, Bayern? Oh, Barcelona. Bayern is a bit. So yeah, sorry. I'm live. I get mixed up on things. I'm getting old. Anyway, back to that. I thought something had happened around Bayern. Back to reality. There goes gravity. So I fancy us against Barcelona. Let's hit some of the news today. So interestingly, today we've had. Look, where do I start on this? I know where I'm going to start on this. We've had some stories coming in today. Quite interesting stuff. Quite interesting stuff around Manchester United, and you know what might happen with the sale of the club, and why the Glazers might be looking to stay. Even Gary Neville, who's very anti the Glazers, has expressed a bit of concern around what might happen, what the Glazers might be up to. So we're going to talk about that. But first thing I want to do, because we are a fan community here and fan voice is so important, The Manchester United Supporters Club Scandinavia, the biggest supporters club outside of the UK, have voted for who they want as new owners. So this is the Manchester United Supporters Club Scandinavia. Massive group. Massive supporters group. Who do you want to be Manchester United owner? 14% have gone with Qatar. 82% have gone with Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Now, look, we're not here to be a dictatorship, far from it. We're here to be a voice and a place that people can chat. Yeah, says there's only 6,000 votes. Yeah, well, look, let's see. You know what I'm going to do? Owner of United vote. Sir Jim. Qatar. Other. So Manchester United supporters group for Scandinavia have voted. Apparently 6,000 people have voted. 82% want Sir Jim Ratcliffe. My job, I'm not here to scrutinise, by the way. I'm here to bring you information. There was one in the Athletic last week. We've had our own. This is from Man United fans in Scandinavia. You know, I could crack a joke and say, well, they wanted to keep Ollie, so it just shows you what they know. I don't think jokes are the time. I don't think they take it as a joke. But on a serious level, we're just here sometimes to bring you the news. I don't have a problem with that vote, and I would say it's very accurate of those people who've been asked. If you voted, if you asked turkeys, should we cancel Christmas? They'll all vote yeah, for obvious reasons. If you ask geese, should we cancel Christmas? They will vote the same. But if you ask people who enjoy Christmas dinner, should we cancel Christmas? They're going to say no. And what I mean by that is that for whatever reason, there's obviously a collection of people in Scandinavia who don't like the idea of a Middle East owner of Manchester United, and they'd rather have Sir Jim. I suspect there are certain groups in the UK that would agree with that. I don't know why people get so het up about it. I don't know why people get so hurt about it. It is what it is. Like, this was always going to divide people, and unfortunately, it was always going to cause people a lot of stress. I don't really care. I don't really care what people vote for. I'm not really bothered. It doesn't matter. I don't have any say in who's going to buy Man United, and neither do you. So I don't really care what people vote for. All I'll say is what I said on Twitter. How can 82% of people vote for Sir Jim Ratcliffe when they've got next to no information on what his bid is? To which people have replied to me and said, well, that's just ignorance on your part because we have got the information. And all I said is, well, I'd love to know the information then. What's the plan with the stadium? How much money is going to be available for Erik ten Hag? Are we going to still be in half a £1 billion worth of debt? I don't know the answer to any of those questions. So I couldn't vote for Sir Jim. I couldn't vote for Sir Jim. And I couldn't vote for Qatar because I just don't, at this juncture, know enough about who else is in the process. So I refuse to vote for anybody. What I will say is I don't like what I said this morning about how there is a bias and everyone's pushing. I can't stand the fact that people are pushing people to vote for Sir Jim when we don't know the key. And look, there's only 4, really. We don't know the 3 key principles. How much money is going to be available for transfers? What's the plan for the stadium? And are you keeping the debt from the Glazers? There's 3 big things there, and they're the 3 biggest things anyway. Is money available for Ten Hag and how much? Are we rebuilding the stadium and when and how much? And are you clearing the debt? And I don't know those 3 answers. So I wouldn't vote for it, but people do. People are blindly voting for it and they don't even bloody know. Where have these journalists like Delaney and co been for the last decade? Glazers are just as corrupt as anybody else and they stood silent, says Mario. But Mark, we have to keep it real. The demographic of that poll plus maybe prejudice plays a factor to that poll, says Wolf. And is it more morally correct to have American owners whose country is responsible for lots of lives in the Middle East, says Zen. And is Sabitzer good enough to be our starting eights next season if funds are available? United could go for players like De Jong, Bellingham, Valverde and Barella. I'd like to keep Sabitzer HK and add to it. I really would. On our vote, 13% wants a gym, 83% want Qatar, and 5% want something else. And we've had nearly 5,000 votes, so we'll keep that going as well. Look, the next thing I want to talk to you about, very interestingly, is what Rob Dawson has reported this afternoon and also what Gary Neville has said. Rob Dawson, ESPN, has said that reports from Manchester United suggest that there will not be any issues in signing players in the summer if the Glazers are still in charge. Gary Neville has come out and said, why are ticket prices being raised if the Glazers are looking to sell? Basically hinting that things are looking a bit fishy and that they might stay. I've got to say what I said this morning. You've got to acknowledge the fact that the Glazers might stay. There was a piece today that Joel Glazer really is having second thoughts about selling the club. Liverpool have stopped selling the club. There is some concerning stuff going on here, and I think United fans need to have their eyes open. You cannot just be blind to the fact that they might change their minds, because they might. They might. I don't think they will. I think they'll go. That's my belief and that's my stance, but it's only a hunch. They could change their mind, and I would acknowledge it like Gary Neville has. Why are they putting ticket prices up for the first time in years when they're about to sell the club? Why are they appointing a director of operations for a position where we're going to hopefully clear out everybody involved in that job? And why would that person take the job? Why would you leave Everton to come to Manchester United when you know they're about to be taken over and you could get sacked in 3 months' time? Why would you even do that? What does he know? And then the third thing, contract renewals and transfers won't be a problem in the summer. There's a real red flag there. We can still buy players in the summer, even if the Glazers are here, but we didn't buy anybody in January because they're selling the club. Shit. What's this U-turn all about? So we couldn't buy anyone in January because we're selling the club, but now we're hearing that we can buy people in the summer if the Glazers stay. And you do start to go a little bit like Gary Neville has. What's going on? This doesn't actually add up at the moment. There's things that are happening, like increasing the ticket prices. Why would you do that? Why would you increase the season ticket prices if the Glazers are going to sell? Because Qatar have already said, we're loaded, we're not in this for the money. There no way is a new owner like Qatar up in the season ticket prices. So why are we up in the season ticket prices? It makes no sense. Absolutely none. You would never, ever up the season ticket prices if you were selling the club, because the new owners, they'll write that off straight away. If Qatar buy the club, they'll knock those season ticket prices straight back down. They're not here to make money off the fans. That's not what they're here to do. They're going to spend money in their first couple of years. They're not going to knock season ticket prices up. So there are a few red flags there. And as I say, the fact that we're even getting information that if the Glazers are still in charge, there'll be money available in the summer. What's this if about? Every story we've ever heard is that the sale will be done by the end of March. So what's all this if shit about? So look, I get it. And, we've been talking about it for 24 hours, but it's interesting when someone like Gary Neville starts talking about it as well. I do think there is some xenophobia when it comes to wanting to gym over Qatar. Even my own family say they are worried about foreigners owning the club. I'm still shocked. This is the 21st century, says Billy. And Robert Ferreira, thank you very much for your super chat there. Ben says 100% the Glazers will be here next season. It makes me feel a little bit tight-chested. It makes me feel a little bit frustrated. It makes me feel a little bit sad at the prospect of them staying. Nothing would surprise me with those people. They make me want to throw up. They really do. But I'm scared of what might happen if they stay, because I just think if I feel like that, then you feel like that, and everybody else will feel like that. And I just think I don't know what will happen, but they'd be absolute fools to stay at the club. But the thing that irritates the most is if they're thinking about staying, it's that's what winds you up. It's money. If they're staying, It's money. And if they're staying when they've been offered 5 billion, it's because they can think they can make more. And all they're bothered about is money. Dividends is the evidence. The debt is the evidence. If they're staying, it's because they think they can bleed us again. And the sad thing is, they couldn't bleed us. That's why they had to sell us. They couldn't afford the stadium. They couldn't afford to take dividends out. Sponsors were walking away. And now they're suddenly going like this. And why is it? It's Ten Hag. It's Ten Hag. It's the fact that the team has started looking like a team that can win again. And brands are interested again. And that's why they're going, ooh, let's up the season ticket prices. You know, Ten Hag has shown that he can get us in a title race with a shitty January transfer window. We'll spend next to nothing in the summer again. Let's get some big sponsors in. Super League's still a prospect. Happy days. Get those dividends running in again. We'll be destroyed. We will be destroyed. If the Glazers stay, we will be destroyed. They are never going to spend money like we need to spend money. The dividends will kick in again and we will fail because Ten Hag will be asked to work a miracle every season. They think that Ten Hag is going to be like Sir Alex, where you don't give him a midfielder for 5 years and he still wins you 3 Premier League titles. But the thing is, we'll still be up against Man City, who are funded by Abu Dhabi. We'll still be up against Newcastle, who are funded by Saudi Arabia. And Qatar will probably go and buy a rival as well. So we'll be screwed if the Glazers stay, basically. But maybe they are thinking of doing it. Stephen says, if the Glazers do decide to stay, could they be in trouble with possibly manipulating stock prices by floating false reports of them leaving? No. Well, somebody mentioned this last night, Stephen. I still do think they will go. But I don't think they'd be in trouble with manipulating the price because their public statement was always quite clever. If you go back to November, it never said full sale. It said we're looking at all the options, including investment. So they're not going to just stay. They're going to stay. Somebody's going to prop them up. Somebody's going to invest in that club to let the Glazers stay. And they will become public enemy number 2 if they do that. Well, Man United fan public enemy number 2. They're not just going to stay. They will have to do something because of what you've said. Publicly, they said the club was up for sale and they were looking for investment or full sale. They've got to do one of those two things. They have to. But look, we'll have to wait and see. How do we stop that investment, Glazers out? Well, I think this is why they don't want anybody talking publicly. This is why Sir Jim and Qatar got in trouble from the Rain Group for speaking publicly. The Glazers don't want anybody who's interested speaking publicly because they want to sign the deal and get it done without whoever gives them the money getting a load of shit publicly. So whoever is investing in the Glazers, the only way of putting them off, if we can put them off, is by being vocal about what we feel about someone investing in the Glazers. But we won't necessarily know who it's going to be, if it's going to happen. Khalil says, I don't like this. Be objective. I think they're trying to stay. No, they might be. The fact that Gary Neville's talking about it, the fact that we're talking about it, the fact that everyone's talking about it, the fact that season ticket prices have gone up, they've appointed a director of operations, they're talking about signing people in the summer. One of those would be a huge red flag. All 3 of them are massive. Why are you employing somebody in an important position when you're just about to leave? Why are you putting season ticket prices up if you're just about to leave? And why are you talking about you'll still sign players in the summer when you're not even meant to be here? They are massively, massively big red flags. Of course they are. And we're powerless to do anything about it. Qatar could offer 6 billion and they still might not sell. And I think that's what it's about. Somebody just said, why are you so confident they're going to sell? Because I've always thought they're going to sell. I might be completely wrong, but my feeling is all this stuff is being done on purpose to tempt out a big bid. Because there may never be an opportunity to buy Man United again. And if you really want United, you better pay us big. Because that's all they want. They're money motivated. And maybe they've set 6 billion as the price they sell. And if they don't get 6 billion, maybe they'll stay. But to get 6 billion, maybe they've got to put it out there publicly that they're thinking of staying. And maybe Qatar and Sir Jim see ticket prices going up, see people being appointed, see they're going to buy players in the summer if they're still here, and they go, shit, maybe they're not going to sell. Let's add another 500 million. Maybe they're just driving up the price, says BLK. Exactly. Exactly. $1 billion each for the 6 leeches, says Araf. Exactly. Maybe that's what it's all about. We'll have to see. Anyway, look, that's your preview for Barcelona and a bit of an update what's going on with Manchester United. Thanks everyone for watching. I'm back at 7 o'clock tonight because I'm doing Liverpool Real Madrid at 8 o'clock on That's Football. So we'll see what happens this afternoon and obviously react at 7. I'll join back with you then live. I'm on Twitch a little bit later as well. Thanks everybody for watching. Can't wait for this Barcelona game. Absolutely brilliant. Can't wait. Huge game, says Adam Lewis. Completely agree. Take care, everyone. I'll speak to you all in a bit. Thanks for watching.